Tres que tuloy. Hi everyone, I'm Tara and oh crap. I would like to welcome you all back to my channel. Spirit Mother Teachings That Go In With Itself on my YouTube, on my TikTok. I am 1974 Enlightened Soul, and I'm also live on my Facebook channel. This here was a quick decision to do. So cover up my little closet where my woodshed is, and where I have a bunch of paint. If you're new to my channel, I advise people to go read my description to find out what my channel is all about. It's my YouTube channel is Spirit to Spirit Teachings Going Within Self. If you want to read the description, then you might understand a little better what I come on here for. Today, this time that I'm on here, I'm telling my story about what happened after my car accident. Okay? When you go through a traumatic experience, okay, you expect loved ones to be there for you, and you expect a medical system to be there for you. Okay? When I had my car accident, it was very intense. I later found out that because somebody was telling me about a vehicle that I had hit. Like I didn't hit anything. I went off the road. But come to find out, I did hit another vehicle. When I come down off a turn, like it was the morning and the roads were salted. But now when I got to a certain place, it was it was kind of down a hill on a turn. And when I come around the turn, they had right at the end of the turn, right at the beginning of the turn, they had stopped salting because they ran out of salt. But I didn't find that out till later. Okay? So I come down the turn, and when I come through, I hit what they call a hoarfrost. And when I hit the hoarfrost, it grabbed me, spun me like this. And when that happened, I went into an instant blackout. It was like make my body supple. And then I could feel what felt like I had to put in an elastic band and pull back and then flung. And when I flung, it was like I felt the car go really fast, and then it was like a nosedived, and I felt a big smash. But when I felt the smash, I kind of see myself fly up into the windshield. And I didn't remember anything after that. When I knew that when I come around, the first thing I did was turn off my car. I got my phone out. Keeping very calm. I got my phone out and I went to dial 911. And I was told I was out of the service area. And I totally freaked out. I totally lost it. Like I know I went temporarily insane. I was screaming for help. I was trying to kick out my windows and everything like that. I don't know how my seatbelt got undone because I had my seatbelt on. And when I couldn't get when I couldn't bust the windows open, my brain just wasn't working to unlock a door or anything. So I took a big briefcase that I had in my started rocking back and forth for somebody to help me. And a gentleman come along, and I know that I had met him not long after I had my first son, because I was going somewhere with a friend and I was scared. I was petrified because we were walking home. People were trying to pick us up. This man come along, and I know he was the same man. He got me out of the car, ushered me away from the accident scene, kept me focused away from it, got me in the car. I was sitting in the car, and the next thing I hear is my sister hollering, screaming, crying. That's my sister. That's my sister. Where is she? That's my sister. And he brought her to me. She had her phone with her, and nobody had known that I had been in a car accident because I had just done it. This goes deep for me, very deep. When she came up to the car, I had to calm her down and tell her, like, I'm okay, I'm okay. Not knowing really how, like, I was just, like, it's, like, a person can be shot and they can still be walking because they're in shock. So I was calming my sister down, and then well, at the time he was my husband. My sister let me, like, she called him. My husband at the time, she called him. She said I was in an accident. He wanted to talk to me, so I get on the phone. He was like, are you okay? Yeah, of course. Most people are going to say that they're okay, whether they know it or not, because they don't want to worry someone, at least someone like myself. So right after I told him that I was okay, he said, what about the car? And I said that I told him that, well, I think the car's a write-off. He started hollering at me, and I hung up on him. I got to the hospital, or the ambulance come and took me to the hospital and checked me over, and I was really like stunned. And I had to go to my boss and tell her that, like, I have to take some time off work, that I was in a car accident. And he was worried about a fucking Tim Hortons coffee mug. Took a picture of the car. Inside the car, you can see a bubble. And in that bubble, you could see a person in there. And their hands were like this. And they were screaming. As days went by, I started losing mobility. I started stuttering to the point that I could really not talk, and everybody was telling me basically to, like, just don't talk because I can't understand you. I was going in catatonic states. It was like the pause button got hit. I'd just be there in 15 minutes, and so could go by, and I didn't know anything. I got to the point that I was telling people, when that happens, don't touch me unless you're prepared to catch me. Because whatever was going on within that period of, like, the freeze frame, the pause, I was at a steady stillness. If you touched me, it would be like drop. Like nothing. I was going to the hospital. They did the things. One, they sent me for CAT scans and ultrasounds. Things were coming up, but sometimes doctors, like certain doctors, just they wouldn't listen. I actually had a PET scan. So sorry about that. I went to get some things. I had a PET scan, but prior to that, I had been going and explaining what I was experiencing. In 2007, the doctor did a lengthy test on me. It was like a day, a whole day. It was constant. They were doing personality and they were doing IQ and what have you. And I was crying for the test because I was totally exhausted. They kept pushing me through it. So it was abusive behavior. I couldn't go to work, and at the same time, my ex-husband was detoxing from Dilaudid because he had gone to his doctor and told him like he was having really bad pain in his belly. So we were both not well at that moment. And I was with him the whole time, even though I couldn't even handle myself. I took him to the hospital. Like, we near went off the road a few times because he would get angry at the wind. I took him to the hospital. They treated him like an addict because prior to this happening, he told his doctor that something was going on, something was wrong, and he wanted off the medication. And she told him that she was happy with where he was at that time. Keep in mind that this same doctor got charged and was suspended and had her, at the end of it, had her license taken from her because she was doing the same. She was with another patient. She was prescribing him opiates, but it was only to have him bring them back to her because she was an addict herself. To bring them back to her in exchange for favors. This is actually on the internet. He, at the end, he wrote a letter to his family. He went up to the hospital in front of her office and shot himself dead. But prior to that, my ex-husband had even went off these medications. She told me she was happy with him where he was. This was before she lost her license. So he started having the gut problem. He was throwing up bile. I took him to the hospital. I'm bringing something forward here. I took him to the hospital. They treated him like a drug addict. They wouldn't even listen to me saying because we forgot his medication. They were treating him like he had been using it and that he was looking for more stuff. But she just wanted Ativan to calm him down. But he was also telling them what he was experiencing. So I was with him. They took him in by ambulance. I followed him in, and I stayed by his side. And I told him, we brought him home, and then he went into detox. Well, when he went into detox, he took his medication. They took his medication, and right at the front part of the office where people were walking by, They had his medication setting out, and a guy come up and approached him after they had seen the medication stuff that he had had. And they intimidated and told him, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that's $10,000 worth of shit there. So he didn't want to be there no more, like at this time. So I stayed. I went, picked him up, and I watched him going through the detox process. Where he damn near died at home. But I was beside him. I had my own appointments that I had to go to and everything like that. And he was getting like angry and getting angry with me because I wasn't well myself. And I needed to get to doctor's appointments. And I wasn't able to drive. And I had nobody else to help. So we were both, not by medical system. And then after he was over his addiction, I was 2008. I was cleaning. I had smashed, like, broke one of those mercury bulbs, and I was sweeping it up, realizing that the vape was going in. So I ended up in mercury poisoning for quite some time. And it's not like it's like organization. And I was going to the doctor about this. And I was telling him about it. And all he would ever do is get aggravated, piss off at me. And I was there for him. Aggravated. I even tried going to work. My accident was in 2006. I even tried going to work in 2000. I was going to work in 2007 for a bit. But then I started getting afraid of driving because I felt like I was going off the road. So in 2008, I got mercury poisoning. But the doctor told me, no, you don't have mercury poisoning. Poison control told me, no, you can't get mercury poisoning from 3 milliliters of mercury or what have you that they put in that. Well, it's not from the liquid itself, it's from the vapors. And you'd think poison control would know that. So one day, I was standing in the middle of the house, like in the middle of the kitchen, because the kitchen's here, in our dining room. He was my husband at the time. He was at this end, and my son was at this end. I was standing in the middle by, like, with the blocks because we were just moving in. And I said, I'm going. And then that was the first time, like, that I went unconscious. And it's catatonic before. Just kind of, this was the first time I went unconscious. And then after that, I was unconscious all the time. I started dry heaving, like I was throwing up. I was at 184 pounds. And less than 6 months later, I lost half my body weight. I was dead. All at the time that I was saying there's something wrong. I needed the doctor. I go to the doctor. I will say my mom was my consistent. My mom was the one that was there. They just kept treating me like it was a mental health issue, anxiety, depression. All I was getting from other people, the doctors can't be wrong. The doctors can't be wrong. Days, months, years went by. More painful dry heaving. Didn't matter where I was, I just started, like I was throwing up, but nothing was coming up. Telling the doctors, I was taking shit piles of medication. stuff that wasn't prescribed to me. Shit calls ibuprofen, everybody knows ibuprofen, Tylenol, and codeine and all that, plus Tylenol 3, plus gabapentin, and I was still going unconscious. People thought I was faking, that I was looking for attention. In 2017, I was in my entryway, my apartment building, and I tried to tell somebody I needed help. I reached out, and they pulled back. Unconscious and almost smashed. I almost went through the glass door and smashed my head on the steel. Holy. So those two people carried me into my apartment. They called the ambulance. By this time, he was my ex-husband. He was getting aggravated with me. He sent me to the hospital by myself. He did not come there. I was left there myself, basically unconscious. I could hear everything. I could feel everything they were doing, but my body could not respond. It was like a coma. When somebody is in a coma, they can still hear and feel things. They're just unable to respond. And nurses were saying, we have somebody who can diagnose with this. They were torturing me. They were taking, and they were grinding here. They were abusively grinding to the point where they were coming over here. After that happened, I started tasting blood all the time. I could feel my body suffocating. I could tell my ex-husband, I went to the hospital, I don't have a chance, he just left me there. Mainly by myself once or twice. And then when he was in there, if he did come in with me, he get really fucking aggravated and irritated with me. So with him, it does go deep, and I know that it's to sort things out. But he doesn't talk about me. He don't want to look at what he feels. But he'll tell me, he'll come back at me because he'll lend me money or he'll give me money, and then he'll say, well, I gave you this money. So time went by, going places. I'd be dry heaving right in the middle of this store. I'd have to sit down on the ground because I couldn't breathe. I was squishing from the inside. I was squishing from the inside. And I could feel myself leaving. I couldn't leave. And I was telling him. This one day in Costco, we got up to a place where samples. And he asked me if I wanted one. I told him no. And then after I said no, I said, I'm gone. Because I had to sit down earlier from there because I was getting really not well. And I said, I'm going. And he reached out and he grabbed my arm. When he grabbed my arm, it pulled from my body. And when my body kind of torqued his arm, or kind of torqued him, he used to say, torqued him. He couldn't hear me. He couldn't hold me. And when he let go, my hip slammed into the floor. My shoulder slammed into the floor and pulled me. And then head toward down like this, smashing the side of my face and then my head, and I was just like, I couldn't, nothing. And all I could hear was him saying, Tara, Tara, get out of the middle of the fucking floor. You're in the middle of the floor. Get out of the fucking middle of the floor. I couldn't move. And then people started, like, I could hear people coming around. There was this one woman, and I thank God for her because she gave me her hand. The whole time my ex-husband was standing over me hollering. And I kind of woke up a little bit, but I was dazed. And when I woke up, I hollered to him, "Fuck off!" And then I was kind of gone again. I was kind of gone, just there but not there. I could feel him taking and pushing my legs up and trying to cross. Because I think I had a shirt on, and my legs were dry. So he was getting irritated with me because of that. Getting irritated after I come around, and I was squeezing this woman's hand because I was so fucking scared and petrified. I couldn't walk because I couldn't even hold my legs up. It was like I was a baby, and that's how it went every time I went unconscious. I couldn't walk and I couldn't talk. It was a constant stutter, beyond a stutter. And they got me up in a wheelchair, and I couldn't hold my head up. And he was getting aggravated and pissed off at me because I couldn't hold my head up. I told him I didn't want them holding my knees because I had already been treated so poorly. Got me in the room, still couldn't hold my head up. When I went to go with the ambulance, he got me to the car and had to basically get in the car myself. I left at my home. I had no help except for the ones, I'm very grateful for them, the ones that came from home care. I wouldn't go to the shower by myself because I was afraid that I was going to go unconscious. There was a woman that was watching me deteriorate every time. And they wanted to take me to the hospital, to the doctor. I was like, no. Because they just sent me away. Every time I went to the hospital, he basically dropped me off. Or he didn't, he just get aggravated. And all he would do was holler at me. I don't know how many times I told him I was unwell. And I felt like I was dying. The ambulance came to his house. I was up there. The ambulance came to his house. he just would get aggravated with me. My body felt like it was on fire. It was like ice freeze. Like I had frostbite. I was actually having visions that it was like I was looking through the portal in the wall, and I was seeing myself laying in a bed with my family all around me. Laid beside him one night because I was wanting closeness. I was afraid. I was scared. He had a black shirt on, and I was started seeing all kinds of colors on his black shirt. Like they were turning into cartoon characters. And then SOS come up on the shirt. And I said SOS. And then I was still doing work. I still kept going. Meanwhile, I was feeling like I was being so much inside. I was even a day where I was throwing up clear, like it was like clear crystalline, and I was able to blow fucking bubbles with it. And when I told him I had to go to the hospital, I needed an ambulance. He got fucking pissed off at me. I called the ambulance. Couldn't walk. The ambulance basically drug me out, and instead of taking me on a gurney or in a wheelchair, they made me walk out, and they made me get up in the ambulance myself. Meanwhile, they had seen me throwing up bile. He came later. He was there, and all he did was like bitch, moan, drip, and complain because I came to the hospital. And then I just stopped telling people. Kept going, but all along I knew something was wrong. And I wanted to get to another province to get help. And there was one person that was trying to get me somewhere to get help. And that was my nephew. I wanted to figure out a way how we could get me to another province. You could see it. It's like, yeah, Tara, you're okay. No, no, I'm not. See me going like this. I didn't want to be alone. I was afraid of being alone. I was in bed one night. I was having visions of my mom at the foot of my bed, one of my sisters there, visions of people running in and out my door. Finally, it was like I took my door off. I don't know if the door got taken off or what, but I hollered and told everybody to get the fuck out. And my nephew heard. But I could feel myself slipping away, and every time I could feel myself slipping away, I tried to catch myself. I fought it. But will he take the time to even remotely feel or understand what I went through? And get to my point. few days later, I was sitting on the couch. And I heard him let me down. Get back up. Walked right on. I was laying there and I could just feel myself slipping away. And I was all alone. I couldn't ask for help. I couldn't go for help. Because anytime I did, I got hollered at. So I was laying there and I could feel myself going. I feel the shock. And I could just feel myself leaving. And then I seen lights. And it had become one massive light. It was like going into the sun. I don't know how long I was dead. I don't know how long I was gone. I just remember waking up and seeing something. And I jumped up and I got dressed. I said, I gotta go out. And I went out and have somebody pull my arm. I was still sick. But he paid for me. Or, wait, yeah. He paid for me finally to go to another province. And I went to that province and I was scared up there because I was living in a place where I was afraid. Because I knew it was an older man. But when I got up, like I thought he was different. When I got up there, like he came one day and told me that I wasn't allowed to have a towel or a blanket over the glass of my door. I felt nervous around him. I would stand behind my chair when he would walk into my room. Very controlling. And then this one day I told him, and the police took me away. Meanwhile, the whole time that I was in this place, I was telling everybody. They were hollering at me and telling me to stay. And they'll say, no, we won't. Yes, you will. Because I remember it like it was yesterday. Because, like I said, this goes deep for me. And this is a big thing of what I have a hard time getting over because people say forgive. It's like, I know it's about forgiveness, but you got to work through it. Like I mean, like I would holler at my family. I'll even be honest. I even hated. I felt like I hated. Still in love. So I was in a hotel for about a week because I was telling him, like, get me home. Could you please get me home? I was asking my family to help me get home, help me get home. And then when I was finally able to get home, it was at the beginning of COVID. I had to go in isolation for 14 days. And I still wasn't well. And then that's when I got home and started looking into a lot of the different government stuff. I did a lot of decoding, and that's when I started seeing these people. And that's when I experienced the other thing where I said that I was screaming. And he came in, my ex-husband came in hollering at me, saying that I was like trying to show people stuff, that I was just doing it. People I had beings, just hearing them say, not to go with him because if I did, and he was used. He took me out to his place. I was having a lot of supernatural experiences. Did you ever like? This is gonna be pretty fucked up. Ever have that feeling like it was like somebody else looking through your eyes or something? It's really weird because I know like we're all our ancestors. It's all versions of us. Spirit. And then I started listening to frequencies. I started using crystals and meditating. I started walking more. I started changing my diet. I started taking better care of myself. I started standing up for myself. And I started seeing things for what it was. And that was like when he took me out to his place, it was Easter. Good Friday was a storm, and I was going through convulsions. Easter Sunday, I was laying out on the deck. It was a really nice sunny day. I was staring up at the sun. And all of a sudden, the sun went into like a slice, and then it separated. So there was a light slice here and a black slice here in the sky. Very strange. And I felt like a higher being come within me. And I stood up and I was walking across my deck. And it was like, looked out at the field. It was a farmer's field. And I looked out, like I looked out there, and it was like a look of disgust. And then I walked back over to the spot right now, and I could feel it. And after it left, it came back together. So let's see, on Good Friday, that was Easter Sunday, on Good Friday, when I got up, later in that day, like it was storming out and the sun was starting to come out. The clouds were clearing away and I was staring. All of a sudden, in the sun, spiraled right out until all you could see was blue sky. And it was just like, I was seeing it and I know I was. And I know that there are others, many others who believe and know that what I'm saying is. And then it was after that I come back and I was sitting in my chair and I could look right out the door and I could see this, like it was like an orange man. And it was in one spot, like first when I seen it, I saw it and I thought I was seeing things and I come back in. And then I was looking out and it was closer. And then it was closer, right up behind the truck. And then all of a sudden it was like he was looking in the door. I said, no. But no, like but I was seeing it. And I was also seeing different things around my house, like different forms of ancient heads, ancient beings, tiny beings like that. And it wasn't hallucination. Because I started realizing that they had been trying to, they were using my ex-husband, not these beings, but the more entities that kind of wanted to hurt and suppress and cause me harm. Because I was sitting there and I felt like something was sitting on me. I just felt, and it was like telling it to get off. And then all of a sudden, my ex-husband, right after I did that, my ex-husband, he turns and flips his head and he says, "Hey, you!" And then he walked over and he sat on me like he was thinking. So I started cluing into this stuff. So I started using something to point out that I knew that it was there. And I was experiencing this stuff. And I started more and more lightning awake and noticing, seeing a lot of strange stuff that you cannot explain. And this one day, he all the messaged me to the fucker. And I do call him fuck. He can be a nice man when he wants to be. Or I'm still trying to figure out if it's he wants to when he's being a nice man because he like wants to look good. And he can take this how he pleases. Maybe he needs to look at himself instead of ignoring. He one day, and oh man, that was when I really felt it. And that was when I really started doing a lot of stargazing. More stargazing I did. Changing my diet, using crystals, doing other things, turning off the TV, music or singing and dancing. So it's less and less, and then the soul abuse system has stayed in my house. I opened my door for him, and he was an asshole too, in many ways, very ignorant. And the same person has the audacity to talk about others. Not throwing shade, just speaking truth. So I had a trailer and I have been staying out there, just kind of keeping in my trailer, just going out there in the summer. And then he sold his house, and I took my trailer somewhere else to store it. He stayed at my house. Then he went to his sister's place for a couple days. My eldest son helped him with the upstairs to rip out all the carpet, to sand it, and to varnish it. And he wonders why people don't help him because he has no appreciation. He said today, nobody gives him any respect. It's like, do you do it because you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart, or you're doing it because you want the gratification? He says about respect. Maybe when you start showing other people respect, they'll show you some. And this is a spirit to spirit. Así que vea, eso que tú tuve, inte tuve, tu visste, sacarino tu tuve. And I know that these two spirits have a beef with one another. And I know it's an aspect of myself because I know it goes right back to the fucking beginning. So then I come out after he did that, and then my oldest son come down here and did some work down here, put it in a new toilet, and laid two forms of flooring. Because first he had to put in like kind of a foam, like a foam. It was like a foam on the bottom, but like plywood on top, sort of. First he had to put those in, and then lay the laminate flooring. And he painted my room with my baseboards. There's no real appreciation for that. When I moved, I came here and I set my trailer up over in front. And I was staying in my trailer. And he would come and he would really trying to push vaccine on me, hollering at me, telling me that I wasn't going to be there because, well, I didn't want to wear a mask and I didn't want to get the vaccine, and I was told it's for patriotic duty. I fed him. Sometimes I'd have him in, have something to eat, and all he'd do was fucking complain about the food. I called him a miserable little bastard because he's so fucking miserable. Like he may have had a father, but he's still a bastard. And do I have any remorse for saying that? No, I don't. I love him, but I don't like him. And it's his personality that I don't like. He would holler at me in the yard, holler at me everywhere. Call with whores. One day he stepped in my trailer and I asked him if his name was David. It was like I would look out because where I live, there's a cemetery, and I'd look out, and right there I would see a figure of a man that would stand the same way he did. So this one day I went over to read the headstone and I asked him, "Are you David?" And he said, "No, he's the fucker that lives down the road." So what? Goliath? Si Goliath of Rome? Scuria Patakiam, Takiat, boy. Scuria Scalamides, Kiduturia, Hanganda Kanai, Kidutui. But he did that, and then it was like, it was like, it was almost like a bully. And I started like seeing, like, observing things to remind me that I was always connected with God, Spirit, Jesus, Yeshua, however you refer to Yeshua, with the Spirit. I went down in the shed one day and I was kind of looking because, like, I was thinking of it that it was like the guy who owned the place. His name was John, and he was a Baptist, and we started finding keys. Keys represent the keys to the universe. John the Baptist, well, two Baptists baptized Jesus, and there's a one in my yard. And then when you go in my shed, it's like there are nails put into the wall, shaped as if it was a cross in that sense. This is what a spiritual can be like for someone. That's part of putting things together, of being able to find you, knowing who you are deep inside, opposed to your shell, or opposed to what somebody told you before. Will tell you you have to be. You are your higher self. You just have to find it in your higher self. That's finding you, your inner child, the mother, the father, the masculine, the feminine, the yin and yang. Your inner child. That's what we are. So when I was dying, I was feeling myself leave, and Spirit told me that I had to let go. The last 5 years, well, actually since, I mean, before 2006, it wasn't too bad. After I had my car accident, that's when it really got. At times, I even recorded him and showed him. One white light. You say one white light, that leads to another white light. Because sometimes we feel it's easier to lie than it is to be truthful. And it's right. I was in love with him at one time, and then I lost total disrespect for him. And he says respect for him. Guess what, man? I'm going to take your advice. You got to learn to respect yourself first. And I'm not talking like ego is not all about like what you have and what your appearance is. Ego is who you fucking think you are. Because ego can go different lengths. Your ego can be really down on yourself, keeping you from thriving, keeping you in depression, full of anxiety, because you're overthinking everything. Then your ego can go in the other direction too, where you shit don't stink and you're the only one that knows anything and nobody knows nothing. So when I got here in 2021, I stayed in my camper. He told me that I wasn't coming in because I was like, lost my income and then I lost my apartment. So I did all the painting except for my room, and a young fella was here and he started painting some, but he was all over. When I had to go over everything again, I had to like fix it. I did the downstairs here. he says he does stuff for me. Seriously, what? You mix me up a smoothie and then wish you hadn't given it to me? You wish you hadn't done it? Or you give me money and then you say that, oh, I just gave you money? Or I gave you this material thing, or what have you? Take your materialistic things, take your money and shove them up your ass, because it all comes with a price with you. You don't do anything unless there's one in it for you, I guess. Right now, I felt that change. Oh, you gave me some money. You got something for me. But you know what? Were you there when it mattered most? Like, seriously, man, were you there and you called me your wife? You married me for better or for worse? You were the worst. The worst of anyone that I ever dated. I had from when we were living together, I had a photo of you and I on our wedding day, and I had a photo of him up here on my family wall. And one day, I just took the frames and I smashed them and I ripped up the pictures. That's someone that doesn't know. It's someone that doesn't know how to love and doesn't allow himself to be loved because he pushes everyone away. Whether it's an abandonment issue, because I know he's got issues, and I'll tell you, he's a lot like him. Whether he wants to admit to or not, his father had good traits, he's got good traits, but you know, the poor ones, they've been surpassing the good ones. The most recent time that I went to the hospital was last June because I was having pain in my belly and a little trouble breathing, trouble breathing. And I felt like I was going to faint. I felt like I was. So I had to beg him to take me to the hospital. Basically, I had to grovel at his fucking feet. At first, he appeared like a little lovey-dovey, all concerned. That didn't last. I started getting aggravated. Just left me there again. So I was explaining stuff to I was explaining stuff to doctors. They come in and do an ultrasound, stuff like that. It was really strange. And I could hear them. Like it was like I was on a whole other what have you. And I could hear them talking about the insides of my body and how they would be good to eat. And that wasn't psychosis. That was what I was actually experiencing on the telepathic level. And that's where you get people with schizophrenia. Or your children have psychosis? Because it's like to that, like you're hearing true thoughts, but it's like you get flipped over to a whole other aspect of life in a certain way. So I told the doctor, told him what I was experiencing. I told him I didn't want to come back in there. Then they took me to the psychiatric unit because there I was having quite an experience. My sister called the hospital and they told her I wasn't there when I was. And I told them what I had been experiencing. And they said about me in 99. I said, yep. And I told them exactly what happened. And I told them what I thought of medication and that I wasn't going to take their medication. People take medication, that's up to you. But, I'm here to tell you, in the end, it's actually not helping you. Take what you will. I'm going by my own experience because after I got cleaned out, so last year I told them I wasn't taking it. They were letting me out. It was really strange, and I ended up giving one of my purses to one of the nurses to give to them that was in the hospital because I wanted to give it to the nurse myself, but I didn't find it. And then I, and I have no attachments because the one that bought the purse for me, it had no meaning. So I was getting released. I called my ex-husband and told him I got my stuff ready, and I was meeting him out, going to meet him out front. I got out there and I see the truck leaving. So I ran out as fast as I could, ran down the piece to catch him. He told me that the front desk, the security desk, told him that I wasn't being released today. So he said he was leaving. But why would I lie and tell you that I was being released if I wasn't? I would have told him, like, basically, you could have came to the door to get me. You knew I was leaving. I told you. But instead of listening to me, or because I wasn't out when you wanted to go, you used an excuse and fucking lied to me. So which is it? And this is the spirit to spirit, and he knows who it is. So which was it? Will you be truthful? tell when somebody is lying. They're not being honest with themselves. Or so that was the last time I was in the hospital. But something had transpired that caused me to go into the hospital because I was confronting something. And for almost 7 months, it was like, and he would tell me, like, don't worry about it. Like, just let it go. See, the thing is, he'll say, but to stand up for me, that's a whole other thing. And then he thinks that people should not be divorced. Seriously? No, marriage is not supposed to be taken lightly. And did I take marriage lightly? I got married for all the wrong reasons, but I didn't take it lightly. It's like that question: why are we lying to ourselves? Some say, "Oh, I'm not lying to myself." Well, sometimes we actually unlie something within ourselves, about ourselves, or we do those white lies. And some get so used to doing a white lie. So I have a really hard time with him, and it goes, and I said it goes deep. And it's not a matter of me being afraid of him in that sense, because you know the fears and the time when I really want to do is just phone people. But I'm not allowed to. So deep in his pride and his ignorance and ego, and worried about money and so concerned about material things. So if the material things, it's like, I'll tell you, go watch Once Upon a Time. It's Once Upon a Time. Okay, seriously. You'll find Rumpelstiltskin. He gets mad if I tell him he's like Rumpelstiltskin. Rumpelstiltskin is considered the dark one. Mr. Gold, he owned a pawn shop, and all he was concerned with was with his power and his materialistic shit and contracts. See, whenever I try to approach him, ears like a little child. Especially to listen to that's what they say. Today, what brought me to doing this was something that occurred to me. It wasn't a jealousy. It was more out of a point. This is no offense to the person. It's a point to make. I was sitting upstairs with him talking, and he got a text message from someone saying they needed him there quick. He jumped so fast out of his chair and put his pants on and got out of there. He told me where he had to go. He said it was about his trap. They were using a trap to catch a groundhog, and he had to go fast to get the groundhog out of the trap so it didn't tear the trap all to pieces because groundhogs dig through the ground. I'm going to say to him, do you hear yourself? Because he doesn't. I repeated something that he said tonight, and he said he didn't say, and then he said what he said, and he said what he said, but he said it the exact same way. I went to talk to him to make a point about of what he's like towards me. And I don't care if you hate someone. I wouldn't want him to be like, oh wait, they already did the same thing he did. So I have to say, man, were you them? Because I know who you were and what you are. And I felt that. But the thing is, I know how beautiful you are when you're not so ugly and angry. So I have to should I say, yeah, they say it. He come down here and I asked him how started telling me all their concerns about what they felt that the person, what might be going on with them, their pain and what have you, all caring and everything, which is great. And I hope that they're okay. But when he was telling, I was feeling it. I was feeling that old wound dug into, whether he was doing it intentionally because one of the spirits effectively had to come out of my mouth. Better get away from me, boy. And I could feel it. And I turned and I told him, like, I hope he's okay, but I really don't want to talk to him right now. And I told him, you should know that. So I did end up going upstairs. And I was calmly talking to him. And I could feel him getting anxious. He said, like, I don't know what he's feeling. Fuck, I don't, man. I'm you. Parts of him were connected. Se lei a tua figlia e che voi a tua pure, se lei è son. Can I say, so there I told him. So I went upstairs. Getting sort of an aggressive at me. Playing victim. And all I was doing was talking to him calmly and asking him why I should. Like, I was telling him why I was so pissed off and aggravated him with him for so fucking long. And I told him like you showed more concern for someone that you've known for 2 years than you have of somebody that you've been known for more than 24 years and was married to. And you wonder why you're alone. Not throwing shade. Saying that I'm done with the life. I'm done with you saying that you're going to fake it till you make it. All you ever do is fake it. And you don't try to make it because it takes work. He started getting angry with me because I was trying to have a civil conversation, and then he says that I started fights. I wasn't starting a fight. I was asking a simple question, and trying to have a civil conversation. But he's actually worse than a fucking child. I have to say, he's like the spoiledest little brat that I've ever fucking met. He's the brats of all brats, if people want to call people a brat. But see, the thing is, I know that he's his story, but I also know that he created a lot of his own shit. Oh yeah, you should have. Can't fight. It's good. if a pastor was in here and said, she's possessed, man. No, she's not. She knows exactly what's fucking going on at all times. So it's like, oh, and not only was he hollering at me, I'm a fucking nag, I'm a bitch, I'm a cunt. And it's all because I stand up for myself and I stand up. And I ask questions, trying to figure out why. Because there are people that are well aware of it. It just comes. But not only did he try to put it on me, he sat there and fucking plucked his ears like a little kid. But he wants to be treated like an adult, and he gets upset when we're bored. What he's acting like. But he thinks that, because I stand up for myself, that I deserve a punch in the face. He's touched me that once. But then today, when I confronted him with that, he blamed me because he said that when I was talking, I was spitting in his face. Like it wasn't on purpose. If I was spitting in his face, it wasn't on purpose. So to push someone, seriously, that's undue force. Yeah. And you want respect. Like I put up with disrespect for way too long. Then I don't know if I. No, actually, I didn't. I came down here and did the video. Oh, just what? Because I said I do things on life experience, and he says you come and do this to get a fight going so that you can go on your podcast. But yet he'll bring stuff to me to go on my podcast. All I do is try to have a civil conversation with him. But it's extremely difficult to have a conversation of any kind with someone who is so deep in the ego. It's like that person that would say that their theory was right, but the other theory was a conspiracy theory. What? Because you didn't come up with it, or because you didn't see it first, maybe? Basically, I saw it. Why? Spirit to spirit. My channel is spirit to spirit, teachings of going within self. So I'm doing this, and when I'm doing it, I'm also going within myself because that's part of my healing process. Porque tutto è sa, sicuro. Because you're stuck holding for something. And then 5, 10 minutes later, turn around and be an asshole. Uranus. Right. Money can't buy love. And the part of money being able to buy me, it may help you, but it's not buying my love. Appreciation for the help, but it's not buying my love. Because love is pure actions. Love is pure words, not lip service. Love is a feeling that you experience the pain of everything. When you struggle to kill it, when you scream or accidentally killing an animal. That's when you know that you're becoming one. You're becoming one with God's soul spirit. The mother, as you are the mother, father of the child. And as you begin to heal yourself, you're healing your masculine. And not only are you healing yourself, but you're helping to heal others. Because we are all I see people wasting life because I was there. I was wasting money. Because I was too deep into feeling sorry for myself, feeling pity for myself, feeling too much like the victim. And when you come to the realization, you're just like, I want to hate for everything. It's like a great feeling. It's like a release. Oh, it becomes that connection. And I didn't go to church to get the connection. I went straight to it. endured the holy mindfuck, shadow, the anger, and just not really caring how much. And I knew the way I am now because I had to suppress it. Because when I was like 11 years old, I remember being in bed and I had my hands like this, and you can feel an energy. I couldn't push my fingers together because the energy was intense. And that's what the teachers are trying to tell people. The real scientists. And some would be like, oh, did you go to school for it? Like, seriously. Just because somebody doesn't have a specific education doesn't mean they don't know anything. They probably know more than what they do. Because the people that are suppressed and depressed all the time, you take that suppression and depression away from them, and you will truly find out how fucking brilliant they are in many different ways. So if you're depressed and you're full of anxiety, you feel like you're ADHD and all that, once you know that, then you will see your life change. And I know it doesn't matter if you're living out on the streets, you can turn it over if you really want to, but it takes work. I just heard discipline. So I didn't have discipline. I had more of a motivation. Motivation to motivate myself, but it was also spirit giving me a kick in the ass and saying you deserve it. It's what tearing the temple is. Tearing the temple down. It's not in that sense, but like from worship. And you are already connected. You just have to find that spark to light it up again. You know, you're a star. My youngest son even had a conversation with me, which was very surprising, but have an awesome conversation because it showed me that understand it. And it was when he started healing himself. And it just takes that one thing, and I don't know if it was when him and my oldest son was driving a dune buggy, and my oldest son flipped it, and my youngest son said, we landed together, and my youngest son said, kind of like, he thinks he knocked out for a minute. He had knocked out for a minute, was fully drunk. So whether it was that, because when he was 5, he told me he was going like that with his hands and would feel himself for the first time, and he said for the longest time he's been feeling this way. So it was like, some things that he looks at me as, really out to lunch for. But, you know, real. It's what it is. So it was when I first came into the world, I was suppressed into forgetting who I was. Some things because I know sometimes when I talk to people, holy shit, man. So I do that. But I just hear other people, and it's just such recognizing. It's like that, you know. But I'm just like, it's that part that I struggle with to wrap my brain because my brain is spinning and my heart is just like, it's there. It's not about someone not having a soul because everyone has a soul in that sense. It's the heart that makes them seem soulless. I was saying earlier today that it's not that we're broken, we've just become lost because we're always trying to find our way home, but we were already home. Because home is where the heart is, and your heart is within you. So that makes you find your heart again. We long for home. We just feel like we don't fit in here. We long for home. But when you open your heart, then you have home. You'll actually see home. Full of abundance of extremely gigantic trees and plants. And just it's like something I've never seen. we don't know where each person don't always tell it as we go. Comfortable. Always looking at the stars. I have my bed so that it's by the window. I can just look at the stars with my binoculars. I see that thing on YouTube when I do my frequencies. And it was like you were out in outer space and your bedroom was there. I like that. And I liked when you showed where you were kind of in an aquarium underwater and it was your bedroom. It was awesome. And then when I get there's so abundant when you look at the sky, it's just so many bright blue earth planets as far as the eye can see. Just different planets. And I see that the animals are just all you know, nobody has a problem with being around animals that you had a meadow and animals. Then you can visualize horseback riding woods, swamp. And when you look up at the sky, like what you see, like with regards to all these northern lights and stuff like that, you see the clouds, like some of them are just like rainbow, big, big puffy clouds. It's just bright and colorful. Everywhere you walk, you just take a piece of fruit off the tree and get some berries. I was in a vision once, and in the vision, an apple that big, and that would feed a family. I just look at what should be there the way it should be. It's vibrant. It's not all plain what they call earth colors. Watching a TikTok video and it had this bird. Holy crap, man, was ever freaking cool. Some would say, oh, well, that was AI. No, it was not AI. You have no idea. Like, it's just these pictures as they go through stuff, and I watched the horses, I watched the dogs, the cats, I watched the birds, and the ones where you get the tiger animals and stuff like that, where the animals are comforting, like walking with each other, comforting each other, and like people are like connected with these what we call wild animals, but they're only wild because of things that we've done. They were over the line, but in the beginning they were. It was all planned. We did, and just uh, see what they had. They get to see. Even people try to implement right away. This way, and we in those times it wasn't. It was like people were so connected that you could be in one spot 1 second and then in another spot. You ever watched the movie Charmed? They call them white lighters. You could use a white lighter so you could be in one spot and then be somewhere else. I believe in that. I know that that is not fictitious stuff. So it is. Sort of notice in fairy tales, like things are so hard that it's like like they want to keep people apart. Yeah, because they think we need to. Every once in a while, I'll go see if anything's changed. I was sitting in church and I was watching, looking at the pastor, and then I was seeing right through him, like seems so. That's where the old saying comes from. Who's to say they're not really looking right through? They don't see it there, and it's because they're in a different vibration. They're in a different, and that's what this is like. if you're like if you're going through something, you have to remember nobody's respecting you. That's the part where you're not going deep enough. The surface just ain't working anymore. Because there's no excuse really for anybody to treat you like a crap, even though you think you should be able to. And like I said before, sometimes I don't know when to back down, but this is one thing that it's like it's got to get sorted out because it's keeping it when things are so hard with you, it actually keeps you stuck. You may not be going through like the same thing, but if you're feeling stuck, it's because you got to change. Like somebody, it's the teachings of going within self instead of putting it on other people, blaming other people because of your reaction, especially when people are talking civilized, and you're always saying about people don't talk civilized to each other. People talk to you because you just plug your ears when somebody has something to say. I have to say, you're a lot like my dad. Oh yeah, no offense, Dad, but just saying, you might like it's not to throw shade on you. Like when somebody holler, when I'm talking with somebody, they start raising their voice and get aggressive with me and more assertive because I said something. Then I'm going to say something. I'm going to tell you that you're doing, but most times they deny doing it. I know I used to, but then I started catching myself doing it and realizing and admitting to myself, yeah, okay, I did do that. But I like I love these 3 men in my life. My goodness, I say to my husband that like it's like you're all 3 of them, and I even tell my dad like it's like just like geese, and they get irritated. Like, well, if you're not like that, then seriously, what the hell do you keep doing it for? If you're only lying to yourself, you make the it's not a matter of you doing something and then forgetting it. It's not to throw shade onto them because of the learned behavior. It's what we grow up learning. But I'm not making an excuse for him because he ought to know better by now. He said, "Oh, um, do like don't say anything to them because they don't know no because I forget, but it made me say like that. You think if they say better by now, you have to like put blame, and that's what he did to me tonight because I wanted to have an adult conversation. Like, hey, this has been bothering me for a while. I'm down here, and you tell me this, and you expect me not to have feelings about it, considering just yesterday he said about, oh, beautiful, and then this morning, called me beautiful. because I've never had genuine confidence where I actually felt it to be genuine and not just lip service. But like I said before, what I see for me is what I see for everyone. But you got to get yourself there because you're the creator too. Cioè, secondo me è atom, no. Per scelto. Ja, starai per scelto, non tutto. Tutto studiare, credo. If you're in and you don't understand my channel, I recommend you go, if you want to go to my YouTube channel, Spirit to Spirit Teachings, Going Within Self. Read the description. Because my channel is not for everyone. like an antenna. Dice Neto, todavía no. El que tú querías saltar al shirt, se pone. Cae. Güey. Ya no, ni siquiera esto será eso. It's like, holy shit, man. Great balls, fuck. Wow. It's like when you feel like electrical current. Rewire, man. He's gonna do the ass. Just do it. Whoa, man. Yesterday's swim. It is like, just check the Schumann resonance later and see. Might give you an idea of why I'm reacting like that. But no, it's like it's the shifting when your body starts releasing old traumas and old stagnant energies. It starts moving. It's like it's going up the spine, so every little nerve ending that it hits, it just kind of a jolt shot. So it's like, holy crap, man! But yes, you have to die and like. Yeah, yeah, it does. It feels like an electrical current going up your spine, and that's as your kundalini starts. Like, wow, man. It can be discomforting, like uncomfortable, but like you learn to you have to learn it. You learn to laugh at yourself because you know how ridiculous you look yourself. So what matter does it make, or what does it matter if people make fun of you? You're already laughing at yourself. It's the part of making fun of somebody else that's not really that funny, especially if it's a disability. Disculpe, so you're not very nice, yeah, شرع سريع طوي يجري ما حاسة يعني someone say, does anybody understand that? Does anybody understand you? It's like, well, in all honesty, I don't care if they do because I know their higher self does. They may not on one level. So it's like if somebody says that to somebody, isn't that a little bit like it may be a question? But when you say things and the way you say them, what makes what people interpret it. Nobody can tell anybody how to behave or act, but they are in control of whether it goes on to their place. They can leave if you're out somewhere. Because I had somebody tell me that people don't go to these like comedians that are really like doing a lot of making fun of other people. But see, I'm here to say, like, okay, some make fun of other people, and there's one to make fun of other people. It's a lot of time it's because they're not comfortable with themselves. And the same person that likes to go to Chloe's comedy shows, it's not right. You can make fun of this person. They'll put a front on they'll put a front and like an armor as if to say it doesn't bother them. But see, I can feel it with the mind. I can tell when it's well, it's like, in ways, I feel for him, but I don't. Because I get so tired of, like, when we get to that point where we get so tired of others feeling that, okay, we're just going to keep going to this person, talking to them, telling them all this. Well, we're treating them like this. So we can tell people what transpired at the son's place. Because being truthful, I wasn't there. It's, give me the whole details. So very disrespected. And I did a video on that, saying like he come home and he, like, but this was another time. So Friday, tell me, but he was angry about it. It's like, you know, did you say anything? It's a part of standing up. And when I did it earlier, it come up as my card about the elephant in the room. And that's the part of the elephant in the room. But I just get tired of things being taken out on me. And many have gotten tired of it. It's taken out on us. And I'm not saying any gender because it's both. You know, when you're able to put yourself in the masculine man position and the feminine woman position, or vice versa. And you begin to understand things much easier because you begin to understand the masculine and feminine and how they're all connected. Because right now, when you look at the yin yang symbol, it's a division. It's the separation of the two, dominant separation of the chakras became imbalanced from each side. So you had them like this, and then the chakras went like that. So it dislocated, it discombobulated, made things all. And right now that's what we're getting more of our feeling. We're shaking up. Our chakras are aligned. Alignment is. Yeah, we live and it's like see color, but with a lot of life you see black and white. You've only seen black and white, you've only seen part of stuff. I like these frequencies because they're very mellow. There's times like I like being calm, but I know there's times where I have to come up with this. Like I want to be playing like a kid, but also knowing how to be responsible. It's not about nobody should be working the way that we do. Not this like that. Oh well, you gotta work. You gotta go to work because you doesn't want to be. Seriously, you go to work because you want to be happy. Well, what the fuck are you working for? I mean, like you need money to be happy, or so you think. You're supposed to be doing something you enjoy. You love doing something that comes naturally to us. Everyone thinks there's nothing wrong with it, but it's a part of like doing the stuff you love, the stuff like that you know yourself you're good at and you love doing it. And when we're dealing with a whole bunch of other shit, sometimes that makes it extremely tough. Yeah, and I don't actually help your mind and it gives you the ability to just sit with yourself, sit with your feelings, and actually feel what you're feeling. parts in your body. When our mind wanders, it's because Spirit's trying to show us something. But, it just gets too much. I break myself. It hurts because it's that, if you're trying to see something, figure it out, but you're not ready. It's like, that's why we react, especially if people know our names. Those advantage. Or if you bring up the wound, if they trigger a wound and they are part of that wound, and you give it back, like, then it's really, and, you know, they know that, and people will say, well, then, yes, it is up to that individual to let it go. But what that's telling a person is that hurt. And I know sometimes it's that person may be deceased or more around the right, but that's part of being able to go spirit to spirit, going within your heart, thinking of that person as a spirit, and you as a spirit, and those things coming together and expressing how they feel. I was watching someone's TikTok video. They do tarot readings, and they were saying about tarot cards are not happy. Tarot cards actually help you to tap in to your psychic abilities. Because when you read tarot cards, you're reading energy, different forms of energy. They were saying about how in the rut where they care about you, but in some ways they feel unworthy of love. And he's told me before that God would never forgive him. It's the part of, do you think that if God is all seeing, do you think God didn't already see what you did? Cierto. Ahora será que hay si la todo el día yo lo soy. Maybe something, maybe already experienced it. Talking with the spirit right now. I was going through it in 2020. I was experiencing what felt like something animal was biting at my private areas. It was being chewed apart. And I kept telling him that our dogs were being tormented by something we couldn't see. They were telling me because they just wouldn't get up. They wouldn't put their back places and stuff like that. They were all freaked out. And I was telling him, I was telling him of other things, being afraid of, being nervous around other people. And it didn't suppress what I was doing. It suppressed, like it had me pull in some of it. But I still know that it's there. Because this is something that I know I need to do without being able to have full use of it. Because it's not about trying to do it through the mind or what have you. It's about working through it. I don't have my glasses on, so when I just looked, that's why I went like right funny. Um, I looked, and because I don't have my glasses on, my screen is a blur, and the way the tree is up above, it was like I had a elongated face, and it was like my eyes were right here. So I guess that's what happens when you don't wear your glasses and you're trying to look at a screen, but you're kind of concentrating somewhere else, so you're sort of in the in between aspect of it. Because I don't like like I don't like screens. Like, so, yeah, my body right now is just like, feels like it's there, but not there all at the same time, I guess you could say. It's like I feel very polite. Get over here for a minute. Oh, yay. I love you, man. So, no, you can't go up there, man. Okay. Oh, crap. I didn't realize at the time I probably had everybody here off or felt like I was telling everybody off, but I guess take it as it is. But if you resonated with it, whether it be on like actually feeling it, like either way, if you're feeling it, you get resonating. It's a way it means that it connected in one way or another, whether it made you pissed off at me or not. So I said que ya es por ahí. Creo que tuve, como tú tuviste, quería lo tuve. I'm really taking a good look at the big picture. The difference between being around the final or watching the final from my sofa at home. I don't understand that part in a sense because it's saying the difference between being around for the final or watching the final from my sofa at home. Well, where's the other difference? Oh, sorry, that's the difference. I said, what's the difference? Okay, okay, now I get it. Um, they're making me read it over a few times so that I can understand it because where I just said it didn't make sense. It's meaning that I'm looking at things in the bigger aspect, in the bigger picture, opposed to waiting for the finale, like the last, say the finale, the last episode, and then or what, like, okay, being around like the finale fireworks thing. If you don't go to the concert, to go to the fireworks because it's the final part, and sitting at home watching. Okay, I get that. Okay, seeing it from a bigger picture, opposed to just waiting till the end. I'm looking at it all. With that being said, I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings, most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting, willing to receive and accept. I want you all to be big, bold, brave. Debería ser la vida muy great shining school. what you all people do, most important thing for yourself, be your authentic self, be true to yourself, be true to others. You are not who somebody says you are. We become kind to yourself and kind to others, and know that you have more strength and be more powerful than what you can call anything else. Sorry about what's happening right now. I'm feeling the movement within me right now, and I like the idea. And a lot of people want to kind of speak, and it's like, should it be guys who creo? Ya está, si hay sobre tan en nuco hay que tú eres sobre. Okay, somebody who's going to be away. I'm sending you all love. Love you. Have a great night. Just go be a